What the? Being someone that's relatively new still to tabletop games, the idea of a deck builder, I didn't really quite understand it. The most experience I've had with a deck builder is Magic the Gathering. And I did try and play that game quite a bit. And the problem I had with that game was getting people to play it with me. I guess the theme and everything about it is can be a little bit impenetrable for some people, myself included. Like, I mean, there's a lot of game backlog of game there that you feel like you're missing out on almost, coming in so green, yeah. So they got me sort of thinking, about what a deck builder was, and I didn't think I liked the idea of them. I didn't think they were much. There was much there on offer that I would enjoy. And then Nathan bought the 2-player starter pack of a game called Dice Masters, a Marvel, I think it was the Uncanny X-Men is the one he bought. And he invited me over to play it. We got together and tried to figure it out and all that sort of thing. And I know it's not a deck builder as such, it's a dice building game, it's a bit different, but the idea is essentially the same. From that point, I really started to kind of get the idea of it and really kind of become something I wanted to know a little bit more about. Then I came across Star Realms, like as a game that I heard a lot about in my travels online, just trying to learn more about board games and all that sort of thing. Lots of people talking about Star Realms. It's quite high on the Board Game Geek ranking as far as like top games. I think it's definitely in the top 50. I can't think off the top of my head what number it is. And to me, I was like, oh, that seems really weird. It's like a very cheap game. It's tiny. It's like a little box, like there's not much to it. Why is everyone talking about this game? And so I decided to check it out. And what I discovered was just an absolutely amazing 2-player deck building game that I get excited when people actually want to play it because it's just so much fun. I'm going to try and do my best to explain it today, just so you can start playing it yourself when you get it, because it's actually really easy to understand. There is a free app online as well, like an actual game app made by White Wizard Games, who's the company that makes this game. And the app does a really good job of explaining how some of the mechanics of the cards work as well. But I'm going to do my best to sort of outline the main parts of it for you today. The game itself is going to come with a bunch of cards. It's all cards that you're going to be getting. You do get these cards as well, with differing numbers and all that sort of thing on them. I don't use these cards at all. These are basically what they call the authority cards. Authority is Star Realms' word for health. I don't use these because they just sort of confuse the game a little bit. I use a Magic the Gathering app, like a life counter app on the phone instead, and it does a better job of keeping track of everything. But essentially what you've got in this game is you've got a big stack of cards. Like there's quite a substantial stack of cards there. So both players start with the same set of cards. We've got 2 what they call Vipers, and we've got 8 Scouts. Now these are, if you couldn't tell, the different symbols mean different things. Surprise. The gold little coiny symbol is obviously money. That is your currency for the start of the game, at least anyway. They call that trade in this. They call it, trade. So when they talk about trade in the game, trade is currency. It's your money. And then you've got the Vipers, which are your attack units. Now, both players start with exactly the same amount of cards. 8 Scouts, 2 Vipers. What we do, as our 2 players, we're going to pretend that we're going to play against each other today. I'm player 1, you're player 2. We're both going to get our set of 10 cards, and we're going to shuffle them. We're going to do the same with yours here. And what we're going to do with them is, this is going to be our starting hand. This is going to be what we start with in the game. The idea of the game is to, like a lot of games like this, is to take the player's health from, in this case, it's 50, or they call it authority, 50 authority, take it down to 0. And you do that by putting out different cards of different effects and different statuses and all that sort of thing until you eventually get the health down to 0. Pretty simple concept, not much to sort of talk about there. The way you do that is you will play cards from your hand. You'll also buy cards from the middle here, which is called the trade row, and that will boost your deck and make it stronger. There's other things to it as well, which I'm going to sort of explain as I do a couple of sample turns for you. So let's say, for example, it's the start of the game, you against me. We're going to roll to see who goes first. I won the roll, so I'm going to go first. As the first player, I'm at an advantage over you. So what I'm going to do is, for my first action, well, first part of the game, you're meant to draw cards from your hand of 10 cards. Generally, we are meant to draw 5 cards per round or per turn of our own. Because I'm the first player, I only get to draw 3 for the first turn. So I've got my 3 cards, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reveal them, and this is going to tell me, this is going to show me what I can do this round. So I've drawn 3 scouts, which means I get $3 to spend this round. What am I spending money on? I'm spending money in the trade row. The trade row is available for both players to purchase cards from and to basically bolster their deck, make it stronger. So $3. What can I buy? Well, there's 2 different types of cards I can buy here. And this is the whole deck. This is not just what's out at the moment. The 2 different types of cards I can buy is a ship, or I can buy a base. Ships are the sort of portrait style cards. Bases are the landscape style cards. They both work in different ways. Ships are cards that get played and discarded in the same turn. I'll explain how that works once we get to that as well. Bases will stay out and be played. When you play them, they stay out until they're destroyed. So they're sort of persistent until they're actually attacked and destroyed. There are 2 different types of bases. We've got a standard base, and we've got an outpost base. A standard base can be ignored. So if I had a base out and it was just a standard base, if you wanted to attack me, you can actually ignore the base and go straight for my authority and for my health and start whittling away at that health. If it is a outpost, and you can tell because it's a black shield with a little sign that says outpost above it, they draw aggro. They get hit first no matter what. Doesn't matter what's going on. You can't attack the player until you get rid of that outpost. So they're really cool. They're really handy. So I've got $3 to spend at the moment. I'm going to buy. Let me think. All right, I'm going to buy this battle station. All right. What I do is when I buy a card, I take all the cards that I use to buy the card and the card itself. That goes into a discard pile that I'm going to make next to my proper deck, my actual deck here. They are set aside until there comes a time when they come back into play, which I'll get to that in a second. Whenever you spend a card from the trade, buy a card from the trade row, you're going to replace it with another card, just like that. And then it goes to me drawing back up to 5 cards because I've had my first turn. And we go to the standard rules of the game. And then it goes to your turn. So, because you are the second player, you are going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're going to draw the standard amount of cards there. And what do you get? You get a scout. Ooh, you get 5 scouts. Okay, this is pretty good. So it means you've got $5 to spend this turn. So you can spend $5 right in here. And basically, you don't have to spend all $5 straight away because you might only have, there might only be cards that are worth $2 or $3 and you might have money left over or something like that. That doesn't have to be spent. But if you don't spend it this turn, it goes back into your discard pile and you don't get to carry it over into the next turn. So everything you draw that turn needs to happen then and there. So in this case, you got $5. Let's say you're going to buy the freighter. No, let's say this. You're going to buy the trade bot because the trade bot's only worth $1. Now, I didn't explain that before, actually. That was really good of me, wasn't it? So the battle station I bought before was worth $3 and I had $3 to spend, so I was able to afford that. Sorry, I should have actually explained that. You've got $5 to spend, so you can put $1 into this trade bot and then have $4 left over to spend on that if you want to, or this one, or actually, you know what? Let's change your strategy. You're going to buy this freighter for $4. So you're going to buy that. That's going to go on your discard pile. Now I'm going to replace that card with one on the deck here. And we've got a cutter that's come out. It's worth 2. You've only got $1 left to spend though, so you can't actually buy that card. So what you're going to do instead is you're going to spend your $1 and buy this trade bot because you can. So that goes into your hand. And then we replace that. That gets spent. You draw back up to your 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You are now out of cards. And comes back to me. So it's my turn. So I'm going to go again. I've got a Viper, 2 Scouts, and another Viper. Not surprising because the first hand I drew, I suppose it was 3 cards, wasn't it? Either way, I've got $3 to spend and 2 damage to deal to you. So now you don't have any bases that are outposts out at the moment. So I'm going to deal that 2 damage directly to you, which means you go down to 48 health. So that's cool. That's done. I'm happy about that. They go into my discard pile. I've got $3 left to spend here. Now this is where the game gets a bit interesting. The card I bought earlier, which was this one here, Battle Stations. You'll notice that we've got the cost up here in the top, your left, my left, top right, your right. Yeah. And then in the other corner, we've got a symbol. That is your faction symbol. Factions, there's 4 different factions in the game. Factions work kind of like, I guess, like because they're on the same team. If you can buy cards that are the same faction, you can basically synergize abilities and sort of unlock extra combos, I guess, in the cards. So let's say, for example, this guy's out here. And let's say I own this card here, the supply bot. You can see there, they both got the same symbol. So they're part of the same faction. What happens here is you've got, on each card, you've got a standard ability and you've also got a secondary ability. The secondary ability is what they call an ally bonus. The ally bonus is activated if you're able to play that at the same time as another card that shares the same faction symbol. So in this case, if I was to be lucky enough to draw these 2 cards at the same time, I would get the faction bonus on this card because they both match. So what you want to try and do in this game, if you can, is you want to try and buy up as much of the same faction as you can so that you've got more of a chance of drawing the same faction each turn. And then they basically, what happens is it stacks that effect, or those effects, depending on what you've got, what cards you got. So it pays to kind of almost like specialize in a particular faction as opposed to saying, well, I can afford this guy, so I'm going to buy this. I'm going to afford this guy, so I'm going to buy this. Then you end up getting like this mishmash of different factions that don't really complement one another and don't allow you to do extra damage or get extra money and all that sort of thing. So because it's my turn and I've got $3, I'll probably buy this supply bot because I bought this battle station. So they're going to match up really nicely if I get the chance to actually draw it. So I replace that. Ooh, I want that card too. So hopefully I can get that next turn as well. I draw up to my 5 again. So 1, 2, I'm out of cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my discard pile, give it a shuffle, shuffle this best I can. And then I'm going to draw up to 5 again, create a new deck, and that's my new hand there. So I'm back up to 5. So all the cards I just bought now get shuffled into my hand and they have the opportunity to be able to be drawn out in my next turn. And that's where it starts getting really fun and interesting because you start to, I don't know, you don't know what's going to come out next. And if you've planned it right and you're able to buy the right cards, you can come out with some devastating combinations of cards. So let's see what you get. You get a Viper, and you get 3 Scouts. Okay, cool. So 3 Scouts. Well, for starters, you're going to do 2 damage to me. So I'm going down to 48 health. That's no big deal. It's done. You're left with $3 to spend. Now, what did you buy before? You bought a trade bot and a freighter. So they are part of the red and the blue faction. I wish I remember the names of the factions. So you're probably going to want to specialize in those 2 factions, I would say. So for starters, I would recommend probably buying this guy, the cutter, because this little symbol at the top here, this basic action of this card allows you to get back 4 health, but also gives you $2 to spend. It's pretty good. And then the ally bonus is you get to do 4 damage as well. So that's a fantastic card. And for a low cost of $2, that's very good. I would absolutely buy that card. And you've got a card that matches that faction in your hand. So you're going to have a good chance of that becoming synergize with another card and getting that bonus. You got $1 left. Let's see what comes out. Nothing comes out that you can buy for $1. So you're going to basically forfeit that $1. You can't do much with it. And then you're going to shuffle your cards because you got no cards to draw now. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And then draw up to your 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's your next hand, your hand for your next turn. And it pretty much just keeps going on and on with like this until you're able to get that health down to 0. The start of the game is reasonably slow, but then it starts to ramp up the more good cards you get in your hand. It really starts to just kind of escalate. And so much fun. Absolutely fantastic. I didn't even talk about the Explorer cards. They're basically like if you have money left over and you don't want to spend it on a card that you're not going to be able to synergize with, the Explorer is instantly $2 every time you draw it. Or if you, and I'll just bring this a bit closer, if you scrap the card, which is this little bin symbol, if you scrap the card, you get to do 2 damage. Now, scrapping cards isn't the same as discarding cards. They don't go back into your hand or to your discard pile. If you scrap a card, it's gone from the game completely. Some of the cards have, like this, for example, the Better World base. If you scrap this card on your turn, you get 5 damage to deal, but then that card goes here and that is scrapped. That is gone for the game. You cannot draw that again, basically. It doesn't go back into your hand. So you've got to be really sure that's what you want to do. So that's pretty cool. The Explorer is the only card when you scrap them, they go back into this pile. They basically keep getting replenished. They're kind of like a never-ending resource. You always have those available. So you always got something you can buy generally, unless you get really unlucky with your drawing your trade cards, basically. That's pretty much it. I think I've gone over basically everything. Short of playing a full game in front of you and actually showing you what else can be done. Look at this hand I drew. It's all money. I didn't draw a single one of my new cards, but that's pretty good, I guess, because that means I could buy the Missile Bot for $2, and then what comes out? Imperial Fighter. I got $3 left. I suppose I could buy that one. I mean, this just depends on what you want to do. Like, it all comes down to the combinations you want to play and how you want to play them. But I've had so many awesome games of this, like just fantastic, tense games where they've come down to, the last couple of points of health. I'm left with 1 health, or the other player's left with 2 health, and I died. And it's really well balanced, even though all the abilities are so different and all the factions play together differently. Can't recommend this game enough. For the low price, the fact it's so small, it fits into a backpack, it fits into your pocket nearly, just pick it up. It's one of the better games I've played, and awesome 2-player game, well worth checking out. That's Star Realms by White Wizard Games. Thanks for watching Tabletop Theory. I'm Adam. Check out some more stuff on the website, and if you've got any queries or anything you'd like me to check out, anything you think I should check out, just drop me a line on the comments below. Thanks, guys. See ya.